Parts are all clean. Just finished cleaning out all my little holes on here with all my toothpicks. And I put all the pieces back on. There it is if you want to see it. All put back together. I don't have the springs in. I've just got these set in there so I can put this on and line up everything and check my pivot wear. See if I need to do any bushings. So that's my next step. And I'm also working on the case. The case is cleaning up nicely. It's nickel. The face cleaned up really nicely. It is that gold ormolu stuff. It didn't say that in the ad, but it was super heavy when I took it off, and when I cleaned it, it was like, oh, this is gold. It's really nice. But anyway, I'll show you all the case parts. I've cleaned the top and 2.5 of the rods on the sides, and the the brass and the nickel is really looking good. So it's going to be really interesting. I checked everything, and I don't feel like it needs any bushings, so I'm ready to tackle getting these guys back in because I'm tired of this big old thing being on my desk. This spring is huge. Anyway, I've also worked on polishing the case some. I mentioned that already. So the brass tubes coming out pretty good. The nickel plated stuff coming out pretty good. So there's 3 little screws on the inside that I took out to take this apart. I got to put it back together. And it's going to look like so. And that's Annabelle. And these are the ones I've done so far. Done these 3. This is kind of how they look before we started. I've actually already dunked this one in some ammonia solution, so it's lighter than it was. It was pretty black. And then these were all gummy. This gummy stuff that gets on the nickel, greasy gummy junk, comes off really good. Like, see how dull that is? Comes off really good with an ammonia solution. And then it's all shiny like that. So this is my top. I'm happy with how it came out. And I'm just kind of... There's my giant cuckoo saying hello. My peacock feathers are looking a little crazy right now. Anyway, I've just been cleaning in little bits and pieces when I have felt like it. And I need to get that thing back together. Let's see, this is the front. Oh, it's the back actually, because here's the little hole for the door, and the door is on the front. So, and these 2 go on the front because they have different little pieces. There's normally 2. I don't know. It kind of looks like a spider to me, right? Like here's 2 legs on this side, 2 legs on this side in the middle, and the little gap. That's where the glass slides down in there. But on the front plates, if you look, it doesn't look like that. For one thing, I don't have it together right. I don't think, because there's no gap at all. But maybe I have it together right. I don't know. I don't think it goes the other way. Let's try it and see. Nope. Doesn't fit that way very good at all. So anyway, back like we were. Sorry about the camera. Only got 2 hands. Alright, so anyway, when it's screwed back together, it'll have a gap on one side for the glass, because when it's up here, the glass will need to be on this side, but not on that side, because there'll be a door on that side. So this side is the only one that needs the pane of glass. So anyway, got to put that one back together. Got to clean this, take this one apart, and get it cleaned up. And I think the contrasting color is really going to look cool. Here's my face. It came out really good. I was very surprised that it was the gold. It didn't say gold ormolu or anything in the ad, but like I said, the ad, Trans book said it was like a 1880 or 1883 So maybe they changed it. I don't know. I would think they would have advertised that it had a gold face if it had a gold face, right? But that's a gold face. Here's my dirty glass still. I haven't done anything with it. I'll clean these little brass or nickel. I don't know which one they are. I think they're brass. Not sure. They're so dirty it's hard to tell whether that's silver or gold colored. I think it might be. I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, so got this left to clean up, which is I'll have to take off. That left to clean up. The base left to clean up. The pendulum left to clean up. And then 3 glass panes and a door to clean up. But I'm going to go put those springs in first. Hi everybody. That's my hubby. That's Artemis. That's Pandora. It's hard to tell Pandora and Zeus apart. That's Bocce, the chocolate one. And while I'm wandering around, I'll show you my next projects. I got that cute little shots clock. And I got these 2 400-day shots clocks. I don't have any anniversary clocks. I don't really like them. I liked how the little balls on that one were flattened out and shaped like little spaceships. And I like the shape of the lantern thing. So I got one from, I bid on Shop Goodwill and got for like 12 bucks. And then 13 I think. And then I looked on eBay and there was one that said make offer. And so I'm like, how about 12 bucks? And they're like, okay. And so I got 2 now. So I have parts for fixing because I don't have some things on this one and I don't have some things on that one. So between the 2 I'll get a clock. But I do not have a suspension spring. Only one of them had a little fork. They both had the little top block, but no bottom block on either one and only one fork. So I'm waiting for some parts to come from Time Savers and I will make a clock out of 2 clocks. That's the next project after we finish this project that's spread all over the house. But this is really exciting because it's an 8-day little wind up. It's so cute. It's like the size of my hand. Just a little wind up on the back and the time set right there. I wound it. It wouldn't run. I adjusted the little, there's a big lever here. There's a door that opens. And a big lever that goes up there to adjust your balance on your hairspring. And so I adjusted it to where it would run. And then it was running too slow and I slowly worked it back. And so right now it's pretty much like the bars straight up and down. And it's keeping great time. It is 10 after 7. Yes, it is. And it's been running for days. And I haven't oiled it. I haven't done anything to it. I wound it and set that little lever. I'll show you. You don't care. You're looking at another clock video, but while we're here, let's look at this one. You open that little thing right there. There's a little bar that sticks down right there. Goes up right there. And it just adjusts your hairspring. So it's pretty cool. Now I probably got to adjust it again now that I moved it to show you guys. But anyway, I thought it was cute. Super easy to work on. I am going to have to take it apart though and oil it because it has the shots ones I like. They have a date on the back and this one says 70. 5 of 70. So it is 55 years old. Probably never been oiled. And these 2 guys are from the 50s. One's from 55, one's from 59. So I'm excited to get to work on them, but I gotta finish this one. Alright, let's go put the spring back in. Alright, I put the big long one in without too much trouble. And now I'm gonna do the other one. So, first thing is make sure you've re-engaged your click after cleaning it. Put your spring on there. See which way it turns. There's the little spur coming up. So make sure, like right now, the spur would be curled that way. It's going the wrong way. I have to turn this over. So then the spur can catch that a little swirly and tighten. So that tells me that this goes this way. So I'm going to put some oil on here and slip it in there. I'm just dabbing it in the middle because I can't really get in there very good. And then I can come through here. Trying to get a little on both sides. Doesn't take a ton. It's a heavy oil. It's going to stay where you put it pretty much. That's thin film. I have better luck going from the end to end because I can hold the clean spot and just go around. And I feel where it's getting slippery, where I've been in here before. I'm going to try to get as far as I can. And that's about as far as I'm going to get. With it doubled. See, like right now I've got it coming through over and under, so if you take one layer out you can get a little further. Alright, far enough. So, now did I turn it over? I think I did. Let me check one more time. It's going to turn this way, pull it that way, yes. Alright, so this is going to go up in here. I usually start the whole ahead, that like don't try to put it right on the little pin. I put it up here because your spring slips as you go around and it'll snag right on it where it needs to be. It'll probably be very difficult since I'm trying to do it on film. My hands are greasy, the spring is greasy. There it goes. And it just slips down where I wanted it, and so now I'm ready to just wind. And because it's oiled, it makes it challenging to hold on to, but it makes it very easy to wind it back in there. You see it is sliding over itself very easily and going into the case. And this nice heavy oil rejuvenates my skin a bit from the ammonia I had them soaking in while I cleaned the parts. And gloves or no gloves, I would be getting oil on this, getting this back in here. That's just the design of this cloth. There's no way to get these back in these barrels because the barrels don't come off. So I will be cleaning the clock plate again And there we are. We are ready to see if these catch. Trying to get it down in the hole is not easy. Can't find the hole. That's the hole right there. Definitely not the easiest design, but it is caught. And it is in the hole now. Okay, so that's one. Let's see if this one's going to catch. Seems to be caught. Alright, now I just got to find the hole. There. Alright, now I can clean all the grease off of there and wash my hands, and we'll get the other wheels back in. I usually put the strike side in first because of these levers. You cannot, it's really hard to slip the levers in after the fact. So I put the gong in first. It's in its little hole. It's going to go be activated off of these little tabs on this cam. And then I put, I'll just show you. Then I put this lever in, which has the J loop. This is what the warning pin catches on right here. When it goes around, this is what's going to lift this arm up to activate it. And it's got a little spiral, so I'm probably going to put a little wire on there when I'm all done, so that when I can open the front door and pull the wire or push the wire to activate this, so I don't have to try to reach in there and activate the strike if the count wheel gets off. Like that's what this little loop-de-loop is for right there. So anyway, you can slip it under the wheels once you get those wheels on. I got my J up there. I got this over there. Okay. And then this wheel, this lever, sorry, it's late and I can't talk straight. This arbor has the count wheel lever on it, which I might need to work on a little bit. It feels a little rough. I'll have to do that. This is what goes in the cam to shut it off, and this is what catches the warning pin to shut it off. So it is going to slip in there around everything else. And I set it up so that the little arm is in the very beginning of the cam. Like, check which way your wheel spins, okay? So it winds this way, so when it unwinds, it's going to go that way, which means the next wheel is going to go that way, and that wheel's going to turn that way. Let me think. Wind it this way. So it's going to turn that way. So that's going to turn that way. So that's going to turn that way. So I'm putting the cam lever just inside there, and the warning pin on this first, second, third, fourth wheel, almost in the hook of this little arbor right here. So I want it to be able to turn just a little bit. If you put it right in it and you put all the plates together and it shifts a tiny bit, it's like on the wrong side of it, and then you're like 359 degrees in the wrong spot. So I usually put it a little bit shy of locking in there where it needs to be. And I'm going to file this a little bit. I'll put the time side in, the little pieces in the middle in here, and get it all back together and meet you back here. So in smoothing the little groove off of this, it made me think, hey, I didn't check any of them. This one goes in the cam, and it definitely has a little ridge right there. I can catch my fingernail on it. So I got to smooth that off. Stuff like that will stop your clock. And then if you look where the warning pin catches on this one, there's a little bit of wear on the inside, but not any kind of groove. And so then I checked the other one. This is where the J gets lifted right there. You can see a little discolored spot, but it's not a groove. Nothing, my fingernail is not catching on anything. And then where the warning pin hits right there, you can see a little spot, but there's nothing, you can't feel anything. It's just a discoloration. It's a smooth spot where it's been rubbed on over and over again. And nothing on this one. You can see right there, it's a little bit shiny. That's where that one hits. So I just got to smooth this off, and then I can put it back together. But I just wanted to point that out because I missed that on the first couple of 1 or 2 clocks of this age that I worked on. Like you can see right there is a shiny spot. That's where this is hitting on it to lift it up out of the count wheel. So you can see where your things, how they work if you look at them closely. But I didn't notice things like that on the first couple that I worked on, that little tiny groove right there, because it's on the bottom. You don't really look at it. You got to look at the working surface of each one of these things. Each 3 do different things, and you got to look at where they hit. Just like this, you got to look at where it hits. It hits on this surface on the recoil escapement. It hits on that surface. It hits on the inside surface of the other one. Okay, so check where the working surface is and make sure they're smooth. It all went back together pretty easily, except I just kind of randomly guessed where to put these Geneva stop works on, and this one wound fine and this one locked up like after just a few turns. So I've done a bunch of video searching, couldn't find a real good explanation of how to set this up, and so then I went back in time, Modern Clock book, and he talks about stopworks. And when you take it apart, you're supposed to wind it up all the way and then let it slowly down until the stopwork locks, and count the number of turns and write it down. And then you take the little stopworks thingy off and see how many more turns, so that you know how many turns to put on the spring, and then put your lock works on so that it'll wind up the appropriate amount of time. Well, of course, I didn't do that because I didn't know anything about doing that. I knew that it did not unwind all the way, and once I took it off, it unwound some more. I did notice that when I took it apart. So I've been trying to figure out how many turns to put back on it. The point of this is, yes, it's going to keep you from overwinding the clock. It's also a stop if for some reason maybe the spring broke and was turning rapidly, but the main reason of it is that it lets you use the middle part of the spring, which is the most reliable in the timekeeping. The beginning of the spring, the clock runs fast. The end of the spring, the clock runs slow. So this is going to let you use the middle part where your time is more consistent. So I thought that was pretty cool. So what I have discovered is I marked my little spring right here, my little clicker spring, my little gear right here. I marked it and counted because it kept talking about how many winds, and that's like, well, it takes me like, I don't know, I do it maybe 3 or 4 times around to go once around. So I put a little mark on here and I counted, and it does wind up 17 total revolutions. So the way that these work is there's a shallow tooth right here and a long tooth on these, and there's always one less tooth on this piece than there is on this one, so it'll give you a certain number of revolutions, say 10 revolutions before it locks up. So if mine goes 17 and it's going to turn 10 times before it locks up, then I want the first 3 and the last 4 winds to be eliminated to keep me the most consistent time. So I've counted how many winds it takes. I'm going to let the whole thing back down. I'm going to put 4 winds on and set this up to lock. And then we'll see how it does from there. I didn't do that with this one. I just let it down all the way and turned it a few times and put it back on. I know it's not 4 winds because I only turned it like 3 or 4 times, so it's probably only got 1 wind on it, so I need to redo that one. But this one is wound up all the way, and there's not any way to just let a few winds off. I mean, I guess I could with my tool. I could let 3 winds off. So there comes my black mark. 1, 2, and 3. Alright, so I've let the first 3 winds off. Then I'm going to put this where it is going to lock. See, that's not going to lock because it's a short tooth in the short one, and the long one's going to go in the long one, and it's going to keep going around. So I've got to get it set where the next time it turns, it's going to go into that. Assuming I'm turning it the right way. Let me see. It turns that way. When it unwound, it came around that way to me, so that should go in there and lock. Yep. Alright, so we're going to try to take a little bit of pressure off again and see if it locks. Alright, so we are locked right there. So that should be where it stops when you wind it. Now let's see what it does when you unwind it all the way. It's not going to unwind anymore, so I set it up wrong. So I'm going to do it the other way around. I'm going to let this all the way down. I'm going to put 4 winds on and put it where it locks. You wouldn't think one little thing would give you so much trouble, but when you don't understand how it works, I guess that is how you have that problem. So I let this all the way down. I just put 4 winds on it, and I just set this on here where it's going to lock on the next tooth. The long tooth's there, the short tooth's there, and it's going to let me wind all the way up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm just looking at my little mark and counting how many winds I got on here. 7, 8, 9, almost to 10. So that's going to be pretty much where I want it. That's going to be 4 winds at the end of the spring, 3 winds at the beginning of the spring that aren't used, and the 10 winds in the middle are going to run the clock. So I'm happy with where that is. So I can put my little piece on there to hold it right there, and I'm going to redo that one over there. Do the same thing, put a little mark on it, check my winds, because I know I don't have that one centered very well. I'm probably got maybe 1 wind at the end not being used, which would mean that 6 winds at the beginning wouldn't be used, which is when the spring is the tightest and most active. So I would be losing, my strike would be running really slow toward the end of the spring life there. So I want it to strike consistently, so I need to use the middle of this spring too. Hope that helped somebody. Hope it made sense. So if I counted right, this one only winds 15 times. You know, the springs were different sizes. This was a replacement spring. It was longer, so I definitely wanted it to balance out the time evenly. The strike, I'm not as worried about it striking a little faster at the beginning or a little slower at the end. I just split the 15 as best I could, but since this one winds the opposite direction of this one, I couldn't like put a certain number of turns on and then put this on because it wouldn't let me turn any further. I had to wind it all the way up and let my 2 turns off and then put it on where it would lock. So I've just put this little guy back on here. I did smooth my suspension spring. It was had a few little kinks in it, and polished right here where the crutch wire hits it. It had a little bit of wear marks, so I smoothed it off, and I'm going to put this on the test stand. Let's see how it does. And I guess if I really wanted to be thorough, once it ran all the way down in a week, I could take this off and see how many spring turns I had, like the book told me to do. Like, see how many spring turns I have left at the end once it's done winding down all the way. But I did that by hand, basically. Just let it down all the way. Then you can lift this off and count how many more turns you've got on there. But one thing is, this gong was kind of loose when I first got it, and then when I put it back together, I got the spring wire on here, but you can see it's already come off of there again, making it wobbly again. I don't know why. It's got a pretty heavy spring wire on it, but it doesn't want to stay on the frame very good. I'm going to have to make some adjustments on there. But anyway, I'm going to get this on the test stand and finish working. Oop, okay, there it just broke off, so I'll be putting some new spring wire on there. And I've got to take another movement apart to get another screw. So I've got 5 screws on this, and maybe it'll have some of the other screws that I need on the other movement. Got to rob from Peter to pay Paul sometimes. I've got an old movement that I'm not using, and hopefully the thread size is going to be about the same. So it's going great. Clock's been running good. It's been on here for about a week. I've adjusted the pendulum bob a little bit to get it keeping accurate time. It was a tiny bit fast, but it's right on, dead on. It's cleaned up good. I haven't done anything with the pendulum. I gotta still maybe clean it up a little bit. I haven't decided. And I've been working on all the other parts, getting them cleaned up. This is a real pretty blued spring with the brass. So let me show you my other stuff. The little Ansonia horseshoe thing cleaned up really good. The base came out pretty nice. And this little guy really came out good. It was black. If you look back at the videos, you couldn't really see anything on it at all. So I've got to put this back together and get my spring back on, and then the bottom will be ready. The movement's ready to go on the top. I've got all my pillars cleaned. I've got all my glass cleaned. You probably can't see it very good, but there's a piece of glass here from this little nickeled piece down to here. So the 2 side panels right here. And the back panel is one big piece. And then the door. And so yeah, I think I'm ready to get it all back together. Alright, I have put the face on. I have mounted the movement back to the top. So now I got to put these tubes on. This little notch goes for the door, and I don't know which way the door opens. That's the other side of the door. So these 2 go on the back. And these little funky anchor shaped things are what they kind of lock up against. And then we'll put a piece of glass in there. So the back panel has a little nickel trim piece that comes on and off. And we're going to slide it in. Maybe. It's noon, all the clocks are going off, so lots of background noise. Kind of sliding, kind of open, not in the groove anymore.
That's interesting.
Let's see. Alright, so that one's on and it goes between there and between there. Yay. Okay, let's see. About these two. Let's see. The door has some writing on the top right here. I noticed it when I was cleaning it. It's just some letters and some numbers. Like when it was cleaned 1, 2, 3, 4 different times. Somebody scratched on there. So this, I'm guessing, is the top. So it's going to open that way. So the latch side needs to go over here. And that leaves this side over here. So there's a little groove for a glass on this side and not for this side. So it goes up against the hinge. And then the little pin goes in that hole. And I'm going to latch it and put the side glass in, and I think we'll be ready to put the bottom on. Okay. I hope that doesn't fall out. It's going to break if it does. Not quite there. Kind of jamming up. Came out of our little piece in there. Maybe it's easier to just put it at the bottom and then put it on. Okay, one more. Alright, success, back together. Okay, let me get the bottom and we'll put it on. Okie dokie, let's flip this on here. I'm trying to get the holes lined up. Door in the hole, which is not. Yeah, it is. Okay. Can't see. On there, we just gotta screw it down. Clips on the bottom. Holds the whole thing together. So I'll meet you back in just a moment. Alright, I got it over here with my other two crystal regulators. Now you can really see the size difference. This is a standard size crystal regulator. And this one is about as tall, but that one is like 17 inches. It's a big one. I did go ahead and clean up the pendulum, and it was pretty cool the way it came apart, but I didn't show you all that. You'll just have to find one and discover for yourself. I don't know, since I've got it together, it hasn't struck yet, so I don't know if the hammer is going to actually hit the gong. We're going to see. That's the one on the left going off. And this one should be going off any moment. It may have already, and I just didn't want to pay attention. There it goes. Yep, not reaching. Not reaching, because I moved where the gong was. So let's try that again. Alright, I went all the way around. That way I could adjust the gong and get the sound right and everything. So it should be going off here any moment. Got a good sound. I'm happy with it. So, I just have to set the time. I gotta watch that because I'm right up here by this other one. So, I'm all set. I hope y'all enjoyed this clock. I did. It's pretty cool. And tune in for the next one. Leave me some comments. Thanks for watching.